Hi everyone! Today we're visiting the Jamestown Settlement in Williamsburg, Virginia. Jamestown Settlement is a living history museum that tells the story of America's first permanent English colony. In this video, we'll explore the recreated 1610 to 1614 fort, a Powhatan village, full-size replicas of the ships that sailed from England, and the interactive museum exhibits. Join us as we walk through the settlement and step back in time.
Yeah, boy, I would have been like 9 years old, like lining up somewhere. Oh, this is how they came over. Look, from
It's
where
a
they
map.
from where they left England. Look,
It's a map.
what's your mommy's recording it? I'll show you.
I thought it was just a random thing
know.
that they made.
I'm getting it.
You probably can't even see her.
Yeah, and here's where we live. Hope we catch one on the way back up.
Oh, look, it's Jamie. Look at that thing. The one that looks like they're closing their eyes.
They all do.
Okay, and that one. Wait.
This is not hot.
Oh. Which one first? What? Which is it? I smell fire. You look like all the dead animals.
What'd you say that? You said you look all of it. What'd you say?
Animals. That's one of their beds up there.
This is where they would have.
Oh, that thing's cool. I don't know where it goes.
But that's just my experience. I'd imagine they had as many discussions as modern people do about the best way to do things. So men and women knew how to do this. We think children as young as 3 and 4.
So you start learning how to make your own rope when you're about 3 or 4. And today, right now, I'm spinning yucca, which if you're unfamiliar with it, it's that spiky green plant right at the front of town there. And if you want to help me out, you're more than welcome to. The animal sinew, depending on whatever your project is, you may change the material up just a little bit.
So they would have used similar, and is it pretty heavy duty?
Sucks a lot less than trying to chop it out, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, especially with a stone axe. You just light a fire and the fire did the heavy lifting for you. We're obviously just getting started on this one, so actually we're working on the bottom of it right now. It's still
So
upside
this is
down.
the bottom of the. Okay.
Yeah, round logs are, well, not very stable things when you put them in the water and try to stand on them, so as you can see, giving it a nice flat.
So I'm guessing they were just taking that in.
Smoke.
Look at Daddy.
What?
Why didn't you make some rope, little girl?
Wait, Mommy was worried.
Things that they would need.
Sissy
Making
wouldn't,
tools.
Sissy wouldn't need the rope.
I know you making tools and rope.
The rope, even if it doesn't.
Oh, you got it. Somebody's in the water over there.
Fishing.
You know where their potty was? We saw that yesterday at the museum.
Bet you after 5 months it wasn't very heavy.
All right, y'all stay there.
Not every week. Been the ocean for 150 years at this point.
How did they get that back?
There's as much time between this voyage and Columbus as there is between us and the Wright brothers. Right? And nobody dies on this voyage. They run a drill. They know what they're doing. They know where they're going. They know they're given particular latitudes and longitudes to arrive at.
Just kind of sketching away. Yeah.
You okay? Work out this. Probably have other instruments with you as well, like water. Yeah. So water. It's great. It gets us to where we need to go. It's the highways of the 17th century, but it also gets on the ship, and we need to stop the ship from leaking too fast. So we use a method here called caulking. You take oakum, little hemp fibers like this. You can feel if you want. No? Okay. And you basically just take that. You have a setting iron like this. You've got to kind of wedge it in between the seams here. And I just hammer it in like that. You drive it in. Try to bunch it all up too as we go. That way, as I go,
That's not gonna.
that's going to create a tighter space. And then once I've done it, doing this like, oh, we're killing like the old you, and then you're being saved, and that's now brought in.
Never thought about that.
Down in it. So let's just
Remember.
Godspeed. This is our recreation of the middle size of the 3 ships that came over in 1607. You can explore, try things out, see how it all works. We are a hands-on museum. Going down to the cargo hold entrance.
The captain had his own cabin, the officers had their own bunks. Down here we had 39 settlers, passengers, colonists.
That may do with whatever.
We had cargo on top of cargo, bio. Wow. Somewhere strange. We don't really know.
For 144 days.
Wow, it is almost a decent
I probably haven't been down here since I was 4th grade. You think you could ride?
One piece. This must be how they map.
Yeah, they close it so they can have some privacy.
What has a license from and working for. So as a privateer, you're working for government.
What time is it?
This is bad, yeah.
I'm coming.
Ready? Well,
Dirty. So I actually drew a map of Virginia. That's the one we have in the pocket.
Oh, look at this chicken.
Oh my god. Wait, no, but how? How was how was
just there to help you not have too much pain. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You're totally right. It's like laughing gas when you have a toothache.
It's exactly like that. Yeah, laughing gas isn't going to fix your toothache because you got a cavity or an infection or something. But it'll make you feel better.
All right, girls, what do you say?
Thank you.
let anyone get in trouble for gambling as well. Lawn bowling is more acceptable at Jamestown. They would prefer you to play lawn bowling. They would prefer you not to play a game while you're supposed to be working. But if you're going to play.
Now I just slept on the bed, and doesn't that rug in why is there places that you can't go in there? In here? And it's not the real place. Wait, there's something that says, what does this say? Thank you for not climbing on the, okay. Look, somebody wrote this a really long time ago, look.
Uniforms and there's really no uniforms. It's just wear the clothes you wear. As far as keeping stuff here, all this is going to be for is to gather for guard duty. All of your equipment, your armor, your gun, everything will be kept in the house you live. And you bring it with you when you show up for guard. So what this is meant to look like is a man on a 24 to 27-hour guard duty. And that's a that's a long time. So factored into the guard duty is you get breaks. So you get to swing back through here and hang up your armor, hang up your gun, get some food, get some rest, and expect to be out there the whole time.
That's for keeping the ammunition, the gunpowder, and the cannonballs.
Like, this is where they kept. What does this say?
Sort of. Where they have like beer, wine.
Excuse us. Oh, walk around. Excuse me.
You might.
Excuse me.
We like to start most any of our demonstrations with an announcement of one sort or another. Something to let everybody else in the vicinity know what's going on in case they want to come and join us. We have found that one of the more effective ways of announcing a musket demonstration is to begin by firing the musket. It does tend to get people's attention. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll talk about it a little bit and fire it a second time to wrap things up.
What are you going to fire the musket at?
You think you can balance an apple on top of your head? If you balance an apple up there, I guarantee you at 100 yards, I'd knock you right out from under that apple. If you don't care for loud noises, you may wish to cover your ears, as this can be a little bit on the loud side.
It's going to be loud.
Set your pace! Tab fire!
I want to do it without covering.
Like I said, usually a good way to get people to. What we have here is what's referred to as a matchlock musket. It's going to be the most common military firearms in use in this time period, and rapidly becomes the main weapon for the soldiers here at Jamestown. The colonists come to rely, amongst all of the various types of military hardware they brought with them, they come to rely more heavily on their firearms than anything else they've got, pretty much immediately. They come over initially expecting to have to fight the Empire of Spain for control of territory, and they have several really close calls with the Spanish, but don't actually end up fighting with them here, and instead go through 3 periods of open warfare with the indigenous population, in this case specifically the Powhatan chieftain. And against the Powhatan, the colonists feel themselves in need of some serious advantages. The Powhatan themselves have several to start with. They've got that home field advantage, right? It's their turf. They know it infinitely better than the colonial population could ever hope to. And to start with, at least they've got the numbers advantage. Now, they don't hold on to that forever. As the colony grows, the native population goes down and the English population goes up. But to start with, they are heavily outnumbering the colonial population as well. And we see repeated descriptions from the English of the Powhatan being exceptional combatants in general, but especially the world's greatest archers. Now, context is always important, right? If you don't know a single thing about a bow and arrow, and you say, man, that's best archer in the world right there, how much is that compliment worth? What do the English know about archery? Anybody ever heard of the English longbow? For centuries, that nation devoted an entire social class of their culture to the use of that weapon, and a whole lot of the rest of Europe was worried for a long time about how good they were with a bow. This is the culture that gives us Robin Hood. And now they're worried about how good the Powhatan are with a bow. I'll tell you something. Right? Alexander Whitaker, one of the gentry at Jamestown, writing about the Powhatan archers, says, I suppose the world hath no better marksmen with a bow, for they will shoot the beasts running, the birds flying, and the fish swimming, and shoot with such a marvelous strength that one of ours taken without defensive arms was shot quite through his body, the arrow nailing both his arms to his side. Think about that. Any kind of moving target. Birds in particular. I know people that struggle to hit birds on the wing with a shotgun. And these guys are doing it with arrows. It's impressive stuff. And they're doing it with enough power to full-on shish kebab an adult human. You can see why the English are worried, why they feel like they need some advantages of their own, why they remain enthusiastic about the use of armor despite the heat of a Virginia summer, which is challenging for English to manage. And it's why they come to rely so heavily on their firearms, because these give them several advantages. For one thing, this is going to give you twice the effective range of the Powhatan bow. You can reach out and hit your adversary before he can even get close enough to take a shot. Stops mattering as much how good he is. Right? Now, you're not going to be able to keep that advantage for the whole fight because they're going to be getting closer fast. But it gives you a chance to maybe put a stop to that fight as soon as it's getting started. You've also got a serious stopping power advantage with this. These weapons were engineered for use on the battlefields of Europe against both heavy infantry and cavalry. What that means is it is built to shoot through bullet-resistant armor. Think about that. Armor came along to put archery out of business. Guns came along to go through that armor. Better armor came along to stop the gunfire, and beefier guns came along to shoot through the bullet-resistant armor. That's the musket. And it's built to deal with cavalry, which means it needs to be able to drop the horse. It'll drop a 1,000-pound animal. You think about what it can do to a 200-pound animal. Seriously large increase in stopping power. Exponentially higher amounts of energy delivered to the target than any arrow is capable of doing. And while shooting further and hitting harder are undeniably important and useful, I would argue that the biggest advantage with this is the weapon's ease of use, which is an aspect we don't often spend a lot of time contemplating. We want to know the stats, right? How much damage does it do? How long does it take you to get ready to use it? Because for the Powhatan, they have to start training around age 5 or 6. They need over a decade of training under their belt before they're old enough to fight. To have the skill necessary and the strength necessary to be that good with that powerful a bow. And just because you've gotten there doesn't mean you can stop training. It's like today, right? You stop going to the gym, you stop lifting, you lose the game, right? You have to keep going. If you stop practicing with that bow, you'll get to a point where you can't even string your own bow anymore. You have to keep practicing. And if Powhatan loses one of those warriors, he's got to wait for the next generation to grow up to replace him. By comparison, there's no bodybuilding involved in getting you ready to use this thing. The user's strength does not give it its power. Chemistry gives it its power. It doesn't take years to hone the skills necessary to be effective with it because the depth of skill in the user is not what gives the weapon its range and accuracy. Your skill is in your ability to use the range and accuracy that physics gave this thing. And that skill is far more readily learned than the comparable skills with archery. At that time, they figured 2 weeks was sufficient to make a man proficient with the musket. Now, that doesn't mean you're a soldier in 2 weeks. It means you know how the musket works in 2 weeks. There's a lot more training that goes along with the teamwork aspects of being a soldier, but it hasn't changed much in 400 years. If you enlist in the infantry today, you're going to get months of infantry training, and 2 weeks of it are going to be spent on the weapon. You run out of new stuff to learn pretty quick. This is going to be a big advantage for the colonists here at Jamestown. They've brought men with a military background. They've brought men who know what they're doing in a fight. They've also brought a whole lot of tradesmen and craftsmen and laborers, people to build the colony and make money for the Virginia Company of London. And this allows you to use all of them to be able to help defend the colony. If you're physically fit enough to come on the expedition, if you're mentally fit enough to come on the expedition, you can handle being a musketeer. It's not that complicated. I have proof. This is going to have a major impact, not just for Jamestown, but as we look at European colonization into the Americas in general. The Spanish, the Portuguese, the French, the Dutch, the Swedes, the English, they're all expanding into the Americas in the 15 and 1600s. They're taking over massive swaths of territory. They're doing it fast, they're doing it effectively, and they are not using very many of their traditional warrior classes, which they have, just like the Powhatan. People who grow up from the age of 6 or 7 with a weapon in their hands, gentry and nobility. Very few of them came here. It's everybody else. Pick this up quick. It's coming over doing that work. At the time Jamestown is founded, there's more than 20,000 homeless and unemployed in London alone. You want to conquer the world, you need a big army? Well, there's an awful lot of bodies right there. It only takes a few weeks to get them up to speed with one of those. Has a major societal impact as well. You don't see gentry and nobility in the nations that make up North and Central and South America these days. You don't have traditional warrior clans. You've got the vestiges of the nobility still hanging around in a lot of the countries that originally, traditionally, maintained those social classes. We don't have them. It was never in need to develop them here. Our nations are young enough to have grown up. This, that everybody can learn how to use. So, as we talk ease of use, the best way to illustrate that is to use it. So we're going to go ahead and go through the loading process again here, show you how this thing works. First things first, priming powder carried in its own container. Little bit of gunpowder into the pan every time you reload. Close the pan to keep the powder safe throughout the rest of the process. And make sure there's no excess powder outside of it that can make it go off before you want it. Cast it about. Each one of these little wooden bottles called chargers, you can carry just enough gunpowder to propel one shot. Measure that ahead of time so you don't have to stop and measure in the middle of a fight. Pop the top off and empty that powder right on down the barrel. The bullets themselves have been carried in the pouch down here on the hip. And while these weapons were not standardized, this one was fairly typical at the time. Would have fired about 1/12 of a pound of lead. By modern standards, it's going to put that bullet up around 75 caliber or 19 millimeter, which as far as bullets go is a great big old bullet. And thanks to the length of the barrel, it is going to get that projectile moving up around the speed of sound. Take a little. You get that kind of mass moving at that kind of velocity, you've got a tremendous amount of kinetic energy, a lot of destructive potential. It's why these weapons work as well as they do, and that's also why we're not going to be using a bullet in the middle of a modern museum demonstration. Today we're going to be using a paper ball in place of that lead one. The projectile either way is going to go directly in on top of the powder charge. Scouring stick is then used to push that projectile to the breech, seat it tightly against the powder charge, turn the scouring stick, cover the weapon. At this point it's loaded and primed. We're not quite ready to fire. It's important to bear in mind why to this day we use the word fire when we talk about the operation of firearms. Gunpowder doesn't just magically go off when you pull the trigger. You have to set it on fire. It has to be ignited. Now, unlike every firearm that comes after the matchlock, which has some mechanism by which it makes its own fire, this weapon does not. And so I have to carry my fire around with me. In this case, in the form of a chemically treated length of burning rope called match. To affix it into the mechanism. Check to make sure it's going to land on the right spot. And now all it's left to do is to open the pan, exposing the powder, aim the weapon and squeeze the trigger. Just simply going to dip that burning rope down to meet the powder and setting the whole thing off. Now what we're going to do is fire this round, load and fire second round without me talking about it, so you can see what that process is going to look like after you've had those couple of weeks of training. Get it up to muscle memory. It's important to note, as long as this is going to take, it's not a fast process, teamwork is key. If you're out there by yourself, it doesn't matter how you're armed, you're already toast. If you're out there with a group of people, you're organized and working together as a team, you're going to take turns firing and protect each other as you reload. Again, it does tend to be a little on the loud side, so you may wish to cover your ears. Set your tapes! Cab fire! Make ready your pace!
Don't go loud.
Set your tapes! Cab fire! All right, well that concludes our demonstration of the match. Thank everybody for coming out to see us today. If you have any questions about anything, we'll be happy to answer for you. And if not, hope you enjoy the rest of your stay.
While this concludes our visit to Jamestown Settlement, we hope you enjoyed the walk through history. If you did, stay tuned because while we were in Williamsburg, we also visited historic Jamestown, which is the actual site of the original 1607 colony. It features active archaeological digs, the original fort site, and views of the James River. That video will be coming soon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
TrainTrotters travel, funds in store. We're off to Disney or the ocean shore. Cruises, cabins, Pigeon Forge too. We show you the best so you'll know what to do. Resorts and food, attractions galore, menus, rooms, and so much more. We're filming the fun to help you decide where to eat, where to stay, and where to ride. So hit that subscribe, come along for the ride. With TrainTrotters Travel, the world's open wide. TrainTrotters Travel, let's go! TrainTrotters Travel, let's